Okay. All right. Thanks, Kathy. And I think we'll get going here. Thank you, everybody, for attending today. My name is Kyle Haugen. I'm our District Rotary Foundation team leader. And the purpose of today's event is to showcase all of the district grant proposals for the 2021-22 Rotary year. Historically, we've done this meeting so that the grants mentors can hear about all the proposals, ask questions, and get to know all the grants, as it's up to them to decide how our district designated funds, which are the funds we get from Rotary International due to our contributions, will be allocated to these projects. Over time, it's taken on extra meaning, though, as it's a great opportunity for clubs to hear what each other are doing and create funding partnerships, because I don't think any of our grants are going to be as effective as possible if they try to do it alone. Hopefully you're impressed by the ideas that the other clubs are doing and get some great ideas for future projects today as well. Before we start, I'd like to introduce some people on this call, starting with our grants team, as they are the people that help make sure everything goes accordingly. They work diligently with you throughout the Rotary year on your grant application, review other grants to ensure they're completed appropriately. And those mentors that are on the call today include, oh, hey, spotlight. That was the wrong time for that. Include Jim Hunt from the White Bear Lake Club, Jeff Harnley from Red Wing, Glenn Bowers from Arden Hills Shoreview, Guy Solinsky from Prior Lake, Judy O'Fallon from the Rotary Club of Rochester, Margie Horning, who is from Stillwater Sunrise. You're going to be hearing from her in a second. Peg Duno from Lakeville, Valdi Stephenson from St. Paul, Paul Meekin, also from St. Paul, and Larry Propst from Woodbury, and Dale Quigley, who is in the St. Paul Club and is also our district governor nominee. Our district governor-elect, Kenny Closter, is here. You're going to hear from him later, and you'll hear from our district governor, Ed Merrick, in a minute as well. And I don't think I missed any of the other mentors as we went through there, and my screen kept jumping around. But I mentioned Margie, and I'd like to ask her to make a couple comments here today. So Margie, go ahead.
All right, thank you. You know, as I read and reviewed all of your proposals, which are pretty awesome, I couldn't help but think how blessed we are in District 5960 to have such dedicated and thoughtful Rotarians. Rotarians committed to looking at their local and international communities, seeing a need, and what's even more important, stepping up to create a solution. I'm looking forward to hearing each and every one of you as you tell your story and as you serve to change lives. So thank you.
Thanks, Margie. And I'm not sure if I missed Guy Solinsky. Jim Hunt messaged me and said, did you mention Guy? I think I did, but if I didn't, Guy Solinsky from Prior Lake Rotary Club is also one of our grants mentors. So that's all of them. And now, all of the projects that you'll hear about today have requested funds from the Rotary Foundation, which helps us maximize the impact our projects make. Here to talk about that briefly is current district governor, but more importantly, our incoming District Rotary Foundation team leader, Ed Merrick. Ed.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm still in that district governor mode where most clubs prefer them to be muted. You might take note of that, Kenny, as you're approaching here. Thank you, Kyle, for the introduction. All I got to say is, wow, we have 20 clubs coming forward with projects this year. You know, as I visited clubs this year, a common concern was the inability to do service projects with the pandemic. So it's great to see that clubs spent that downtime planning projects that could be accomplished once vaccinations became available and the pandemic subsides a bit. Your projects are supporting literacy, water, sanitation and hygiene, the environment, gold pollinators, health, and promoting Rotary's visibility in our communities. We'll be hearing overviews of each of them shortly. As you're well aware, the Foundation's matching support will leverage the funds you have raised and increase the impact you will make in people's lives, locally and across the globe. As Kyle and the Foundation team has pointed out, it's about creating positive peace. A quick plug. We're closing in on our goal of $500,000 for this year for the annual fund, which will make a big difference 3 years from now when we're funding projects clubs comes forward with at that point. So please encourage your clubs and fellow members to support the Rotary Foundation so we can finish strong this year. Kyle?
Thanks, Ed. That's important stuff. The more we give, the more good things we get to do with the money. So it's not a one-way street. So without further ado, we're gonna start with the project presentations. And as most of you know, we're gonna be going in reverse alphabetical order by club name, with a few exceptions due to some time constraints. As all of you are aware, each club will have 4 minutes to summarize their projects, highlighting what they are doing, who it will impact, and the financial details of the project. Funding partnerships help maximize the impact of these projects. So we've asked all clubs to make sure they share how much they're looking for from other clubs as well. During each presentation, I'll put the contact information, or Ed will, for a few minutes at one point. We'll put the contact information for the main grant sponsor in the chat box, and we'll also send out a master list of all contact info to attendees after this is over. We encourage you to reach out to clubs if you're interested in helping fund their project, because this is a great way to help not only fund a project, but also to help your club members understand the impact of the Rotary Foundation while increasing the effectiveness of a project. Before we start, a few things. I mentioned that each of you gets 4 minutes. Please stick to your time. I think you all know that you'll get a reminder from me in the chat box at the 3-minute mark. Along with, you'll hear a brief alarm at 3:45, and at 4:15, Ed or I will jump in to end things, because we want to be respectful, especially with 20 projects today. We want to be respectful of everybody's time. It's a nice day outside, and we want to get through these in a fair and orderly standpoint. Patty Hall mentioned the questions earlier. Along the way, the mentors have been instructed to send me any questions they have privately, and I'll ask at the end of your presentation if we have time, so it's not going to be an open Q&A. At the end of the meeting, we may stop for a few minutes if there's any additional questions that anybody has there. But you don't have to ask for questions at the end of your time unless you get done in about 2 minutes. Then we'll open it up for questions. If you have any technical issues, for any reason where you can't get your PowerPoint to work or whatever, we're not going to sit and just wait for the PowerPoint to work at that point in time, because again, we want to be respectful of everybody's time. So you have essentially 3 options. Number 1, you can go without your presentation or without the visual and just give your presentation. Number 2, you can try to figure it out off to the side about what the issue is, and then message me when you're ready to present, and we'll get you back in order there. Or you can send the PowerPoint to me, I can share it, and we can get you back in order as well, and you can just tell me when to click. Again, trying to make this as efficient as possible so we're not waiting for those time things. So with that, I think I got everything out of the way there. Away we go. And as I mentioned, we'll be doing these in reverse alphabetical order, and I'll also post it in the chat box the 2 clubs that are next, so you can be prepared. And of course, right off the bat, we are going to go out of alphabetical order, and that's the Austin Club. And Mike Posma from the Austin Club is here to talk about a literacy project. And Mike, you have your computer, so I don't have to share it. And your time can start now. Go for it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you accommodating me going a little bit out of order. Got some other service projects going on today, sort of Rotary adjacent in town. We have a new farmers market, so we're excited for that. So to everybody in the district, welcome to Austin. We're excited to have you, even if it is virtually. You see, we proudly display our Rotary logo alongside some of our other fellow service clubs. Our project that I want to talk about today is one for early childhood literacy, which I think we all know is kind of one of the keystones of Rotary Foundation. And so first up, just a little bit of background about Austin. We are a slowly growing community, but almost all of our growth, as opposed to a lot of more rural areas, They're declining. Our growth is coming from immigration and refugees. We have a lot of folks who are moving to Austin, which we're very excited about. This is a snapshot of our outgoing superintendent, who is a member of our club. And this is just one of the kindergarten classes at Austin. So if you go into that kindergarten school, we have a school just for kindergartners, you'll find that over 50% of them are of a diverse background. We have over 50 languages that are actually spoken at home in our school district, which is really cool. Along with that, we have some economic inequality that we've been working on trying to fix. We find that over 62% of our kindergartners qualify for free or reduced lunch, which is one of the reasons that we feel so strongly about this book program, because it helps eliminate economic barriers for early literacy. So our request is to help fund a program through Mayo Clinic Health Systems that gives a book to every child 6 months up to 5 years when they come in for their wellness checkups. They come in for their shots, their checkups. They do this through the Reach Out and Read Minnesota program, which is a nonprofit. The Mayo staff, as part of this, they complete required training and biannual Reach Out and Read Minnesota reports. And the real program focus of this is on family reading and getting parents involved in reading to their children. So what we are asking for, we have a $10,000 budget that we're trying to raise, which will buy about 5,000 books. So that's close to the number of child wellness visits they did in 2019. This is a program that they've had for a little while, and we've always supported as a club, but some of their major funders for this, due to COVID last year, weren't able to do any fundraising. So we're trying to step up and basically triple what our normal impact is with your help. So our club will be funding $3,000, and we are looking for other clubs to help with $2,000 so we can get that district match of $5,000. We'd be happy to work with other clubs who have some great projects who are in need of funding to kind of do a little reciprocity. I'm sure there are others who are looking for some larger grants as well. My contact information is in there. I will not, unfortunately, be able to stick around on here, but please do email me. I would love to hear from you. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Thanks, Mike. And I don't think we have any questions from any of the mentors, so we should be in good shape there, and appreciate your help on that one today. And it's always nice when somebody kicks us off ahead of schedule. So thank you doubly for that, and enjoy the weekend. Next up, we're going to do White Bear Lake, and then after that, just so everybody knows, Stillwater Sunrise and then Roseville are on deck afterwards. But I'd like to welcome from the White Bear Lake Rotary Club, Patty Hall, to talk about their project. Patty, you are still muted there. So
looking for my PowerPoint, I had the same problem when I tried it, and I'm not going to find it, so I'm not going to waste time.
Okay.
So good afternoon, Rotarians. White Bear Lake appreciates the opportunity to present our district grant to provide water, sanitation, and hygiene education to Nasaruni Academy for Maasai girls. We're collaborating with Alice Sayo, the founder and headmaster of Nasaruni, who had a dream to provide education and a safe place for Maasai girls to flourish, and Michelle Cood, who is the U.S. contact with the 501c3 who helps fundraise and create curriculum with Alice. Alice attended James Madison University on a State Department leadership grant, and thus the school began. The school started small with 13 girls and now hosts 120 K-8 students. Most live in the dormitories on campus. Nasaruni is currently building a secondary school. When girls complete Standard 8, ages 13 to 14, there is not a secondary school nearby. Without further education, girls return home, are typically married to the elders in the community for the bride price of a few cows and goats. The girls that I had pictured, which are not showing, were preparing for their weddings, but it's not uncommon that girls are married as young as 13 years old. Attending school helps prevent early marriages and pregnancies, and school is a safe place. Education provides a future, and great teachers are critical for success. Our project will provide access to plentiful water, sanitation, and hygiene education for the new teachers' housing that is being constructed. Water changes everything. Cleaner classrooms, healthier students, facilities for washing and showering, and toilets. and gardens that provide food. Now, the gardens are essential too because the Maasais have been nomadic herders for thousands of years. But as Kenya puts fences up and people are forced to stay in one place, they have to turn to gardening. So students at Nasaruni are learning to plant and cultivate gardens and how to use those vegetables in their homes. The school has a deep borehole well that's already been provided. They have several rainwater catchment tanks and also provide piped water and rainwater tanks for cooking facilities. The dorms have sinks and showers and 6 beds per room. And they have nice classrooms and big fields where the girls play football and netball, which are the 2 competitive sports for girls in Kenya. There is a new school building that's in progress. We are not doing any funding for any of those structures. So the new classrooms for the secondary school hope to be ready by the end of October. What our grant will provide is funding for a water storage tank piped from the borehole, and also will have a rainwater catchment component so that during the rainy season, they can also collect extra water, toilets and showers, plentiful access to water, and water for their gardens. Now our funding, the total project is $17,889, but we were fortunate to have an outside source come in with $4,899. So we're asking for a total of $6,500 to be matched with $6,500. Of that amount, we already have committed funds for $5,500. So we're looking for a few clubs that would like to donate $1,000 total to get this match and do it as soon as possible so the construction can start. Great teachers need facilities. They come there with their families. They typically won't stay if the housings are not adequate. They have their families with them. So this will change schools. So do you have any questions?
Thanks, Patty. And I have not seen any questions from our mentors at all. So I think we're in good shape. And if anybody has any at the end, we'll kind of gather time at that point. So thank you very much, and way to bring it to life, even with the technical issue there. So thanks for the adjustment. All right, next up, we have the Stillwater Sunrise Club talking. Hey, that's what the alarm sounds like, just so everybody knows. Up next is Stillwater Sunrise, and Rick Heideck gonna share there. After that will be Roseville with Brad Kircher, and then Rochester Risers with Nick Rethmeyer. So Rick, you're
Great,
up.
thanks Kyle, and good afternoon everybody. I'm going to be talking about our water project in Nicaragua and the problem in Nicaragua. This is the community we've been working with in our Fast for Hope program for a number of years. But this community, a small rural community, has no local source of water. They currently pipe the water from a nearby community, but it gets shut off in the dry season. So 6 months of the year, they literally have no water source at all in the community. The government does occasionally supply a water truck. It's not reliable. And so the end result is residents have to walk approximately a little over 2 miles each day if they want water. And what you can see here is the pictures. This is what they're, because they get water so infrequently and it's so hard to get water, this is how they store their water. So if you can imagine, this is how they've been operating for 20 years and water storage in El Corozo. And so this is their drinking, bathing, and water for washing dishes and clothes right here. So it's a significant problem. And our solution that we're suggesting is a borehole well in the community with piping and metering infrastructure and water governance that I'll get into. This is significant for the sustainability of this project. This project is relatively large because of the nature of it. There is a total of about $135,000, of which a significant part of that is in a global grant. We're going to talk today about the district grant portion. So phase 1 is already done for this small amount. Phase 2, we're in the middle of about $10,000. Moving to phase 3 in August, starting in August, for the district grant, we're looking at $19,970, of which we do have half of that already generated through club donations. So we're covered. And so we're looking for upwards of a district grant to satisfy this portion, keep this project moving until a global grant of about $10,000. And so a little bit more on the community information. This is a very poor community. You can see how their primary means of transportation in the whole community is walking. and it's hard to get in and out. The road is impassable. And also they do have some economic ability, and this factors in significantly to our governance work, where people will actually have water piped and will be paying for water. So they have some limited capacity for that. And again, the two critical aspects of this project is, one, we think of wells as a technical project where we're drilling, we're putting in a well to pump water. But another big part of this is our community management and sustainability. We're actually changing the dynamics of the community and creating the capacity of the community to manage and govern their water usage, charge for their water usage, and sustain this long term. And this is where we've got two really strong partners of Planting Change Foundation, NGO, and Engineers Without Borders supporting us in Nicaragua on this. Again, this is just a snapshot of how this breaks down in terms of the phases and the district grant. Again, you see water governance and then building the distribution network to the homes. And lastly, we refer to what was in Rotary magazine around the lessons on what makes water, sanitation, hygiene projects successful. And what we feel strongly is they have a compelling need, a severe lack of available water. We have a strong likelihood of success where we've addressed all of the risks involved here, and building in governance capacity and technical risk into the analysis for this project. And sustainability, it's a likelihood of a long-term sustainability is high because of the nature of not only how we're addressing the risks of the technical side, but how we're addressing the governance side for the community to manage this long-term and successfully sustain this project. And lastly, this is contact information, and I will turn it over to questions.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate that. And I haven't seen any questions specific to your project from any of the mentors here. So we'll hold up, and if anybody else has any at the end for you, that would be great. So thank you very much. We're going to go to the Roseville Club and another water project, this one in Uganda. And here to share about that one is Lauren Swanson. Lauren.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time to present the project. I think it's a very interesting one. We've got a community of people about 9.5 kilometers south of Mbali. And Mbali is right on a river with water coming off of Mount Elgon. Mount Elgon is about 14,000 and some odd feet high. And so they have a lot of snow and glacial runoff from there. So the water source is just excellent. The people living just south of Mbali are rice farmers. And they're a big enough community. They have their own school there. And they all live there so they can work in the rice crops. But the only water they have available to them right now is water that's in the rice paddies. So for all their cooking and cleaning and bathing and everything else, that is the water they have to work with. So if we can get some good water to them, that would make their lives significantly better. In order to do that, what we're looking at doing is laying a pipeline from the water coming off of Mount Elgon directly into Bangoko, which is the place where they need the water. So at first I thought, well, geez, a pipeline, and then we got to pump the water, but geez, we got this wonderful pump that's working for us, this little concept called gravity. I checked out on the map, and Mbali is at 4,193 feet, and Bangoko is at 3,976 feet. So we got over 200 feet to go. And that's more than enough drop to get the water to go from one place to the other. And the country of Uganda has provided the pipes. And so the only thing we have to do is provide a little bit of labor to get the trenches dug, to lay the pipes in, and then after the pipes are laid, to fill in the trenches again. This is a relatively small project. In the whole scope of things, we're looking at between $4,000 and $5,000 to do it. And in addition to that, we're working with a guy named David Mabunga, who has done this with us before. So we know we've got a good, dependable person. He's also worked with us on a Books for Africa project. He was referred to me by Steve Schaefer. And so we've got a good, reliable, boots on the ground person to head everything up and get the people there to do the work and handle the money. And he's been very reliable in the past doing that. And so in addition to the project, we also have a whole bunch of the technicalities already lined up and ready to go as soon as we have the money to go.
Great, thanks, Lauren. And if anybody has any questions, I just remembered that I did not share Lauren's contact information, so we're putting that in right now. And there that is. Great. Well, appreciate that, Lauren, and thanks for being with here. And I think pinch hitting last minute, right?
Absolutely. Proud to do it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the Rochester Risers Club, and here is Nick Rethmeyer to share about their project. And I will tell you before Nick starts, Ed, why don't you start the clock, because I need to sneak out for about 10 minutes to make another Rotary presentation. So Ed is taking over as our MC, timekeeper, heavy, all of that stuff here for a few minutes. So Ed, it's on you from that perspective.
Thank you much, Kyle, and Nick, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. Yeah, my name is Nick. I'm with the Rochester Risers Club, and we are collaborating with an organization called World Without Orphans that seeks to, I guess, in the name, a world without orphans and a world without child abuse. And we would like to partner with them to deliver 3 new virtual regional forums. One focused in Latin America, mainly in Paraguay and Brazil. One in Africa focused in Zimbabwe, and another in South Asia, mainly in India. And we will have members of the Risers that will be joining World Without Orphans and their team and other local Rotary clubs in those different countries to provide educational training to key stakeholders in business, government, nonprofit, and religious settings to give them the tools they need to prevent the abuse of children. And so kind of what we're looking at budget-wise is we're asking for $25,400 to conduct these regional forums. Kind of where that money will be going, we'll have about, most of it will be going towards paying global and regional trainers. So the global trainers are contracted through World Without Orphans. They've worked with them in the past on global trainings that they've done. And this is now regional trainings. And so those folks will be there. They've never been worked with before, but they'll be kind of national, kind of like nonprofit folks in the different country settings. And so the Risers, we're committing 3,000, and then we already have secured partnerships with the Rotary Rochester and Greater Rochester Rotary for another $36. And with the match, we're looking for about $6,000 from other clubs across the district. And we're hoping through these regional trainings that World Without Orphans kind of estimates that we'll reach over about 70,000 families as a part of the partnership. And the trainings that they have focus on a couple things. The first one is safely transitioning children who are living outside the family back home with their parents, or in foster care or adoption, or something like along that line. And the other aspect of the training is a platform that provides programming for protecting children from violence. So we're super excited to be partnering with them, and that's kind of all that I have for the presentation. So if there's any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Nick, and thanks for keeping us under time. Excellent. I don't have any questions from the mentors, and they may have sent them on to
Nick, this is Margie. If you can get your club's MOUs signed and sent to Kathy and me, that would be awesome.
Yes, I'm working on the addendum. I have the MOU part in.
Okay.
Waiting on one more signature. So yes, I'm actively trying to get that in.
It sounds great. That makes you street legal, kiddo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for that reminder, Margie. And we'll throw it over to Kim Cobb from Rice Lake.
Hi, everybody.
Kim, I think you muted yourself.
Hi, Kim, we can't hear you. You're gonna have to unmute.
There we go. Okay. My timer was already started, so I know that used my time. So I'm sharing my screen now. Do you see my screen?
No.
You turned your screen off, Kim.
Okay, I'm just going to talk. We are, let me get back to Zoom. There we are. Of course, I had it all set up. We are working on a pollinator park in Rice Lake for the Rice Lake Library Pocket Park. So the Rice Lake Library expanded 2 years ago, and now there's a green space on Main Street. And we are proposing a pollinator park there, which would provide support for 3 of the Rotary pillars: economic development, education, and environmental support. The pollinator park will obviously cover the environmental part by adding opportunities for pollinators in the garden to be in the overall area. Right now, the green space is pretty much just a deadish area. We're going to have 1,000 square feet of garden, and it'll really improve the downtown look, because as you drive up and down Main Street now, you just have this about a half a block of nothing with sort of deadish grass and some real little picnic tables. So we're proposing this garden, and it'll have educational signage throughout. We are working with a club member, Claire Parrish, who is the children's librarian, as our library connection. And also Marlene Garglack is one of the leads on this project. So as I said, economic development, environmental, and then educational will be the opportunity to have outdoor children's programming there, adult programming, and then just the informational signs themselves. It will be identified as a Rotary project, and it will involve a lot of Rotary volunteer work. We know that we'll need to maintain it for the first couple of years as far as weeding and so forth. We've had a plan put together by a professional native garden plant person, and I sure wish I had gotten my materials working, but maybe we can forward those. We're real excited about it. Original budget was $13,805. As we have gotten our ducks in a row, we have 10,000 from the Rice Lake Club. We've gotten contribution from the Barron County Sunrise Club. We would welcome additional contributions. Our budget was at, as I said, $13,805. We've since identified that, due in part to the construction of the new library section, our soil prep is going to be a lot more complicated, and we'll need some excavation equipment to help get that done effectively and really get some good soil in there as a good base. So I'm looking at another $3,500 on the project. So right now we're looking for a total of $1,705. So we're looking for about $7,000 right now. So that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Boy, that gets annoying.
All kinds of dinging going on.
No comment from the peanut gallery there. Okay, next up, we've got Prior Lake with Mitch Popple. Mitch, take it away.
All right, great. Let me see if I can do this successfully. I'm nervous because everyone else is having issues. So, all right. Am I sharing my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Oops. So good afternoon, Rotarians. I'm Mitch Popple from the Prior Lake Rotary Club, and I'm here to present our district grant. So how did this come about? So the Prior Lake Pickleball Club has reached out to us to donate to their capital fundraising campaign to add improvements to the newly built pickleball courts. And the most pressing need is the addition of sun shelters and bench seating, which is, this is the picture here of what we're looking at. And after a number of conversations with them, we had suggested that a district grant with matching funds could be a great way to make this a reality. So the Prior Lake Pickleball Club is a local club in the community with over 350 members, and it's growing very quickly. And the majority of the members right now are seniors, which has typically been an underserved demographic when it comes to recreational activities. In addition, they also have members from anywhere from high school through college and on, so it truly presents a large cross-section of our community. So the city of Prior Lake has built 8 brand new pickleball courts in the Spring Lake Regional Park. And in fact, it's literally set to open any day now. Now, as you can see by this photo on the left, there is not much in the way of shade. And so the request is to fund 4 of these sun shelters that you can see on the right that we could place between the courts to provide shade and rest before and after getting on the court. Now, the city has already prepared for this when they poured these concrete footings. You can kind of see in this picture, and it looks like this. So it's preset, so it's ready to, they just have to take that out and it's all set to be poured and to get the shelter in place. So the one of the things that's really key to the Prior Lake Rotary Club is that we're really focused on partnerships when it comes to the projects we fund, and obviously particularly our own community. In this instance, we're unable to actually build the structure, so we look for other ways in which to work together and partner with the pickleball community. And so the first thing is the Prior Lake Pickleball Club, they immediately stepped up and they are volunteering at our Lakefront Music Fest, which is July 9th and 10th, for a shameless plug. And the club has also conducted a number of their own clinics to teach the sport to current prospective community members to help grow the sport. And in addition, they've been working closely with the city of Prior Lake to offer camps and clinics to the youth through community education. So the city can ensure our youth trained coaches are working with the kids to teach the sport and truly make it truly intergenerational. So again, another win-win situation. So the total cost is $38,000. The Pickleball Association has been working with the city of Prior Lake for the past several months on this bid. They identified the shelters from a company in Australia that has the ideal style and function that's required. And so the total cost is $27,000, which includes shipping, and then another $10,000 to $11,000 for installation. So the Prior Lake Rotary Club is committed $3,000. We are asking for up to around $11,000 from other Rotary clubs in order to get our matches. And then in addition, the Prior Lake Pickleball Club is going to committed to at least $11,000. And we also have received a $1,000 check already from a local foundation that is very committed to helping out this organization. And that brings me to the end. So I'll try to bring it in under 4 minutes. So thank you so much.
And you did, Mitch. Thank you for that.
You bet.
One question did come in. Are there any US vendors for this or similar equipment so you can save fumigation and shipping costs, if not identical, something that would do the same function?
Yeah, they searched far and wide and they had not been able to find anything. And obviously with the city being involved, obviously they're very, cost conscious as well. And part of the reason we wanted to go with 4 instead of 2 is that the shipping cost is the same regardless of how many shelters you bring over. So, obviously one way to bring the cost down, well, maybe only get 2 to start with, but then the problem is we'd double that shipping, in the future. And so that's what we thought this would be the most cost-effective way. And so great question though.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if
Yeah,
saving the shipping down the road, so.
Yeah, and they've been working with the city since at least January. I know when they got the original bid, so.
Great. Thank you very much,
You're welcome.
Mitch. And moving right along, we'll have Joe Miller with North St. Paul. And Joe, you're muted.
Good day, all, and thank you for the opportunity to present to the Grants Committee. I'd like to extend a special thanks to Valdi Stephenson. He has been our mentor and provided tremendous support and feedback, and we greatly have appreciated his help. First off, this is a re-request from a grant that we were given last year in 2020 2020 to 2021, and we did not accept because of the COVID. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that we were working with the city of North St. Paul. They had staff cutbacks. There was also some miscommunication, and money that was supposed to come from the parks did not get forwarded for acceptance through the city council. So now we're going at it again in hopes of again getting our grant accepted. Now our park sets right on the Gateway Trail, about midway between St. Paul and Stillwater. We service, and this was about 5-6 years ago, we did a tally on numbers of users, and at that time it was 300,000 plus. And I can assure you, I've been there multiple times, summer, winter, and fall, and it is used year round. And right now, we started this project in 2013, and we have now built out 2 shelters. We've put in 8 park benches, 2 bike racks, a bike repair rack, a mini library, pollinator garden, and now most recently, we just finished a restroom which replaced an outhouse that was there up to this point. We also have 3 flagpoles and a monument that we put in. There's a drinking fountain in the area. And now what we're asking for this year is a kiosk or signage for the area. We initially were looking at just a sign, if you will. And then after working with both the city and the members of our committee, we came up with recognizing the need. The sign that you see here, Mike Postma shared with me last year, and we're looking at a similar sign for our park that would be 2-sided, one that would face Second and the other facing the exit off of McKnight, so that people driving up the stop signs could see where the park was. The next 4 slides are considerations that we're looking at putting down close to the restrooms. Originally, we were going to put it across the trail, but then realized that first off, there's a steep bank there, and by putting it on that bank, people viewing the signs would be in the way of traffic. This sign would serve multiple purposes. Each end, for example, one end would be to show the complete Gateway Trail. The other end would be for emergency information, and the middle would be for businesses in the area. Now, if the funding becomes available that we can do it, the middle section we'd like to put into an LED, and that way it could be readily changed from City Hall to whatever's going on, and anything new, any new activity. So that's one of the signs. The next sign is another example of the considerations we're looking at. That's a 2-sided sign.
Joe, we're out of time for you. I'm sorry. So.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not
I'll
seeing any
hang it up.
questions. Yep.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Joe. And no questions, so we'll move it right along. And up next is Joanne Rich with New Richmond.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, and I'm going to try to share my screen with you all. And if that works. All right. So I'm not able to make it larger, but I hope you can all see it. Rotary Club of New Richmond has in the past had a successful project with our friends at Bocas del Toro, Panama. And We enjoyed it so much, and our partnership is working so well with the Bocas Club that we want to do another project. And we found another school and continue. Oh, wait, won't continue. There we go, maybe. Yep. Our next project will be at Boca del Drago, which is located near the Bocas del Toro, Panama area. So just a hop, skip, and a jump over the water from where we were last time. And this is a picture of the school. The school serves 100 students, K through 6, and they currently have one bathroom for all those students and the staff. So we want to improve that by adding additional bathrooms. Our budget, we will purchase the materials and tools locally. And we also used the local contractors who really knew their stuff, which it made it really easy for us as Rotarians to show up and help as best we could. Overall, we also want to include some educational materials and supplies for our just hand sanitation and just promoting that safety and health. And then because the project is on an island, around from a different place than where we stay, we will need boat transportation to get to the project site each day. Now, this is a few pictures from our former project. When we first arrived in Panama last time, this is what we found as their bathroom for the school for 40 kids. This is a picture of us with the kids. Last time we brought along additional school supplies, that money that was donated by other Rotarians personally, which kind of helped us to extend and go above and beyond. Our total project, our request is $3,270, which is a match. Our club of New Richmond will put in over $1,500, and we are looking to partner with 3 or 4 clubs, maybe some of you who have worked with in the past, to meet our goal of $6,540. Here's a picture of the bathroom. We have both a boys and a girls side with the hand sanitation sink in the middle. And this is the water catchment system. The school is positioned up the hill a little ways from the bathroom. So gravity, flows the water down to be able to flush toilets and wash their hands. As I mentioned, in addition, we had some generous donations from Rotarians and other groups that we were able to expand, and we replaced the teeter-totters that they had, and made a twister game out on the playground, and just had a really good interaction with the kids, which we look forward to doing again in the future. Any questions?
Ed, you're muted.
Yeah, I don't see any questions for Joanne. Thank you very much. And that was a great project. The last go around down in Panama, I saw quite a bit about it. So great work on that. And good luck on this next one.
Thank you.
Next, we'll throw it to Nancy Webb in New Prague. Nancy?
Good afternoon. I'll see if I can share my screen here. Okay. The grant I am proposing is for the Nye Nature Center to upgrade their signage and safety equipment. The Nye Nature Center is a county park located near Henderson, Minnesota. It is managed and staffed by a nonprofit organization. It has over 400 acres of natural habitat and 12 miles of trails. The cost of this project is about $4,500. I'm hoping to get about $1,500 from other clubs and $2,200 from district support. The funds will be used to purchase and install 20 directional trail signs, 5 traffic flow signs, 2 trailhead kiosks, and update the 2-way radio system. Here is the summer trail map, and they have identified where they would like the trail signs and the kiosks to be placed. The center is used daily, including Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. It is estimated that over 39,000 individuals used it last year, which is a 140% increase over the prior year. In addition to hiking trails, they offer snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and include the rental of the equipment. They also have outreach and community education classes, and they work with several schools, youth, and adult groups. Here are some pictures of where people can gather to do their research or to watch nature. They're also allowed to rent this building here for different events. This is Alex Colling, who is the resource manager. And these totes are used in their summer day camp program. They collect maple syrup or maple sap during the spring and process maple syrup for sale. This is a picture where some of the trails intersect, like right here and on the left-hand side over here. About a month ago, I was hiking out here with my sister-in-law, and of course we were talking along the way. And there is no trail markers here, so we did not take the right turn at this point. So our 3-mile hike ended up being a 6-mile hike and about an hour and a half later than we anticipated. This is a picture of some of the trail signs that they do have. And with these posts, we can easily add additional trail markers to them. Here is their 2-way radio system that they currently have. The topography there is quite varied. It goes down almost to the Minnesota River, and there's ravines and then high top areas. So the communication is difficult in the park. The 2-way radio system is for responding to safety issues and communicating with the staff in the field. The parking areas have no traffic control signs, and this is a safety issue, especially on busy days. They continually work to restore the area to its natural habitat. They're trying to bring back the butterflies and other natural wildlife. This is my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, and right on time. And I, again, did not receive any questions so far on this, but we've got your contact in there. So if anyone needs, has a question or support, they can certainly get a hold of you. And I will throw this back over to Kyle, who has returned.
Thanks, Ed, and glad your alarm cut you off there. That's a nice welcome change of pace. We're gonna go down 169 a little bit from New Prague to Le Sueur, and here to talk about their project is Betty Jo Braun. Betty Jo, you're up. Betty Jo, you're still there. You go. Not muted anymore now. There you go.
I'm here to tell you about the Le Sueur Street Clock project. Here's our old Main Street. I think there were Rotarians in Le Sueur in this period in history, probably not in this period. But the Main Street has changed many times. Back in the 70s, part of it, one block was taken out due to renewal when we built our mall. And it seems like ever since 50 years ago when the Main Street was taken out, people have been talking about putting it back in. So the city is planning to reconnect Main Street, open up this block of Main Street and redesign the whole idea of downtown Le Sueur again. Being people of action, we had an all Rotary planning team that talked about what we were going to do with this. A local contractor, the city administrator, a long-time downtown pharmacist. I came about the same time as the first urban renewal. And the idea for the clock really originated with Mr. Rotary of Le Sueur, Noel Krogman. These are just a few pictures of what the street looks like right now. We thought maybe it was the exact opportunity for us to dig in a clock and add something visually about Rotary. The idea is to install a street clock on the newly reopened block of Main Street. This area will become a place for gathering and celebrating in the community, and we hope to hear often, "Meet me at the Rotary clock." The project will be completed within 1 year. Our partners are the city, who will install and maintain the electrical and lighting for the clock, Rotarians who will help with the installation, including putting in the footings. And we wanted you to know that you can always count on the time at this clock, because it will include GPS to maintain accuracy within, I don't know, 4 thousandths of a second, I think. Why a clock? We hope to enhance the public image of Rotary and LeSueur. We wanted to take an active role in the renovation of our downtown area. And we wanted to live our Rotary motto: friends making a difference in the world while having fun. So if you have any questions, be happy to take them. Henry Andrus is also here and will answer any of your technical questions.
Thanks, Betty Jo. I haven't received any questions at all from the grants team. Ed, have you at all? I would just, where are you? Well,
No, I haven't.
okay, perfect. Then thank you, and we will move on from there. Next up is going to be Lakeville, and then after that will be Lake Elmo with Teddy Carlson, and then Hudson Daybreak with Ann Searles. But now we're going to hear from Lakeville Rotarian Peg Duno with an Iringa, Tanzania training project. So Peg, you are muted, so I can see you talking, but
okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's all you.
I'm going to try and use this screen. I may not get it.
Okay.
Forget it. We're not even going to try. So I'm going to be talking about a regional training program in Tanzania. As some of you may know and some may not know, we've done 2 global grants in recent years in Tanzania. One was a micro loan project where they helped fund little farms. It's been very, very, very successful. 99% of all the loans are paid back. And from there, they went to the Iringa warehouse. And why I'm bringing that up is this grant ties into it, because it is funding when they're expanding this these programs. And when they go into a new area, which they're going into 2 new areas, the farmers usually have, or the people have no experience in farms. They have no idea what they're really doing, or how to do it. So there's about 3,200 families representing about 20,000 people that they're in the new areas that they're going to start doing these projects in. And there are 2 local co-ops, and I've sort of mentioned both of them. One is the Iringa Hope Amos, and that's an agricultural co-op that I talked about. And then the Iringa Hope Joint SACOS, and that's the savings credit and loan, which we were talking about. How the networks work together, they work to provide members with the tools that they need to make the most of their small, usually about 4 acres farms, preventing the credit and the access to seed and fertilizers. Like I said, both of them are very, very successful and very well known. The networks contract with a nonprofit, the Iringa Hope Microfinance Institute. It's become quite a well-known institute over in Tanzania, and they support training and professional services. What the Iringa Hope Microfinance Institute does, it's going to provide ongoing program of intensive leadership training, on-site village seminars, and a weekly call-in show. I thought that sounds interesting. And new networks needed a period of training, which I mentioned, and it will provide 1 year of training activities for the newly formed co-ops. The maintenance of this training is obtained after initial training. The co-ops generate sufficient funds from dues, fees, and interest payments to provide ongoing training to the members. Training is organized and managed by the Ringa Hope or Ringa Rotary Club. That was a little slip, sorry. The project budget for this is $6,000 United States dollars. And it would include the use of a vehicle, 2 instructors, printing supplies, and miscellaneous overhead such as phones, computer usage, pamphlets, notebooks, markers, etc. We're asking for a DDF of $3,000. Lakeville Rotary is putting in $1,000, and we would need funding, and we would appreciate funding and would very much appreciate it. And my contact information should be in there. If not, contact me. I'm just like for Rotary. That's it.
Thanks, Peg. And yeah, I did put your contact information in there, so
Thank you.
anybody can reach out to Peg. And I don't see any questions from our mentors. So we will keep moving along here and to the Lake Elmo Club with Teddy Carlson talking about the removal of one of the first invasive species I ever learned about for whatever reason, Eurasian water milfoil. So Teddy, you're muted, but then it's all you.
Now?
Perfect.
Okay. Hello, I'm Teddy Carlson from Lake Elmo Rotary. And my request is for milfoil, to remove milfoil, which is present in the Lake Elmo Regional Park lake. Lake Elmo Rotary is submitting this grant support to help the Lake Elmo Park, or the Lake Elmo Lake Elmo Lake Association to address the presence of the milfoil in Lake Elmo Lake. And Lake Elmo Lake is located in Lake Elmo. It's a body of water in Washington County. Eurasian milfoil is an invasive aquatic weed which reproduces from fragments, and it spreads very rapidly. When it reaches the water surface, it creates an extensive mat of plant, which reduces fish and native plant growth by lowering the amount of oxygen in the lake. It was first identified in Lake Elmo Lake in 2005. The Eurasian milfoil in Lake Elmo Lake has grown up to 25 feet deep. Milfoil has a root system that's very invasive. The lake is 100 feet deep with an average depth of about 30 feet. Approximately 50% of the lakeshore abuts the Lake Elmo Regional Park Reserve, which is a part of the Washington County Park System. And the park is heavily used. It has a boat ramp that provides access to the lake. The park has sometimes 2,000 visitors a day during the summer. The Lake Elmo Lake Association works with the Washington County and the Minnesota DNR, along with local clubs, hopefully with Lake Elmo Rotary and the Lake Elmo JCs, to work towards removing the Eurasian milfoil. Eradication is not feasible, but managing the milfoil is very important on an annual basis. It has to be managed in order for the recreational use to continue and the lake to be enjoyed by the whole community. The project is a spring, summer, fall project, and it consists of obtaining a spring plant survey of the lake in order to identify the areas in which the milfoil is located. And after the survey results, those are given to the Minnesota DNR, which obtains a DNR permit to the Lake Association to complete the project. Once a permit is obtained, then the Lake Association works with a vendor on the removal of the milfoil, but that's just removing it annually. It doesn't ever get rid of it completely, but it removes enough of it so that the lake is usable. In the late summer, then the watershed district, the Valley Branch Watershed District conducts another plant survey, which gives the results of the reports. The Lake Association conducts fundraising and partners with local clubs such as Lake Elmo Rotary Club to get fundraising efforts to get money to do this. We encourage the involvement of Rotarians to share by sharing this information, particularly how to mitigate transfer of this invasive species. We're asking for, the cost of this is $27,970, of which Rotary, Lake Elmo Rotary Club would provide $2,500 to be matched by, hopefully matched by $2,500 from the district. Are there any questions?
I did not see any here. Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you.
And we'll keep moving. Next up is going to be Hudson Daybreak, and then after that will be the cultural exchange enthusiasts, and then Elk River. So here now, though, is Hudson Daybreak Rotary, and please welcome club member Ann Searles. Ann.
Thank you. So good to see everyone. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you a need here right in our district. I'm here to talk to you about hunger here in Western Wisconsin and our initiative to fill the food bank and respond. We have a growing need here in Western Wisconsin. Our area demands 6 million pounds of food, and we are falling short. We are only distributing 3 million pounds of food. The average household is struggling. Living in poverty is 33% here, right in our district, right in our backyards. There's been a significant growth in food insecurity, especially for our children. 2018, you can see it was at 12.9%. Now it's 24% just in 2020. So what's our response? What can we do together? There's often confusion with what's a food bank versus a food pantry. We are a food bank that is a new food bank to respond to the need to the 35 food pantries across the Western Wisconsin region in our district. We've grown to a new, larger warehouse, and now we're in a situation where we need to fill the food bank. And we are seeking funding from other clubs to help us out with that. You can see we have our racking up, we have our cooler, but this is what we need. We need to be able to provide food to these smaller rural food pantries that are high poverty and do not have the resources in their community to even put food in the pantry shelves or in their refrigerators. So today I'm here asking you to help us together to address this immediate need right here in our district in Western Wisconsin so that we can end food insecurity. We are seeking 3,800 from other clubs so that we can maximize the district match. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ann. And we do have a minute if anybody wants to ask any questions. This feels like a good time to put in a plug. Ann and the Hudson Daybreak Club, along with Elk River, who we will hear from in a minute, were participants in our second Shark Tank that we had a few weeks ago, which is a great way to create funding partnerships for clubs that haven't done a grant in a long time. So Ann, thanks for participating in that, and thanks for being here today. And we will move along to the cultural exchange enthusiasts. And here to talk about their pollinator garden project is Elke Schmidt. Elke.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here on behalf of the E-Club for Cultural Exchange Enthusiasts. We're also proposing a pollinator project that will align well with those that have already been proposed and those that have been accomplished by other Rotary groups in the past. As an E-Club, we have members throughout the district, as well as further out, all the way in Marshall, Minnesota, and Denver, Colorado. This one-year project will take advantage of the E-Club structure to extend our reach, and we're hoping that through this, we can be a role model for other E-Clubs on how to engage in service. So it'll include an education portion about the importance of pollinator gardens by working with Rotary clubs, schools, neighborhood associations, and others. We'll also be sharing a lot on social networks, infographics, videos with tips and tricks of how to make dandelion jam or arts and crafts that you can engage in using pollinator-friendly plants. And then we'll also work on promoting individual pollinator gardens. So we're requesting funding for garden kits, which we'll share with members of our community. And in these kits, there'll be seeds and a sign talking about pollinator gardens. And this way we can build almost like rest stops along the pollinator highway. So as the pollinators are traveling to all these beautiful gardens that Rotary has worked on, they'll have little rest stops in people's individual gardens. And that way we can also engage individuals in maintaining those gardens and engaging them directly in the process. We're also a club that focuses on youth exchange. And so we're hoping to engage current, past, and future inbound and outbound exchange students in these projects. And our friends abroad, while we won't be sending them seeds, we're hoping that they'll take it on and plant a few gardens all around the world. So we're requesting approximately $3,500 from the district. We're super excited to have the support of 3 additional Rotary clubs in districts 5960 and 5950. We have $1,000 each from Prior Lake and Northfield and $500 from Edina. So thank you so much. And we've also raised nearly $1,000 internally. We're a very small club, only about 14 members. And so we're super excited for our member Rotarian engagement. We'd also appreciate any other opportunities to share this project. So either going to talk to Rotary clubs, sharing information out via the District 5960 email group to all district clubs, sharing garden kits with other Rotarians and Rotary clubs. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Elka. And this is the first grant that your club has done, right?
Yeah. And we're, I think we're going to be featured in next month's Rotary magazine. And so we're really hoping that we can continue to like find innovative ways to do service as a e-club that's always on Zoom, not just during a pandemic.
Perfect. Yeah, the original pandemic kind of club there. So, well, thanks for being here, and thanks for your club's first jump into the grant side of thing. And I hope we'll see you many more times. And I know on the last one, Valdi had a question for Ann in the chat, and she answered that. So that should be there for everybody there. So we will move on to one of our other Shark Tank participants, and that's the Elk River Club. And here is Casey Mahan to share a little bit there. And Casey, you are still muted. So when you get a chance so we can hear you, that would be great. Casey, there. Kathy, I'm not sure if you're talking, but that went to you.
No, not talking. I'm just trying to find him again. He's not able to join us. Can we move on to another?
We will. We will move on to the Chicago Lakes.
Oh, here's Casey. Casey's here.
Casey, unmute yourself and then we're good. You're good to go.
You ready to rock and roll? Okay, I'd like everybody to close their eyes for a moment. Everyone close your eyes for a moment. Now, picture yourself at Disney World. Your day includes visits to the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and Hollywood Studios. Mentally, physically, emotionally, you are second to none. But then, just as you are ready to start your day, you are told there is no on-site transportation and you are on your own. Well, that's a bummer. So again, I'm Casey Mahan. I'm a retired Air Force officer. I am a disabled veteran, and I am an Elk River Rotarian. I am here not to discuss fictitious transportation issues at Disney World, but real-world transportation needs at a new veterans nonprofit that may serve you or someone you know. Today, we ask you to join us in supporting the Magnus Veterans Foundation, or MVF, a one-of-a-kind initiative founded by a retired Special Forces doctor. As an Army wartime physician, Sean Alderman treated the wounded in combat zones, honored those who passed on operating tables, and now through the MBF serves veterans with scars seen and unseen. And how much will veterans have to pay? Not a penny. The MBF focuses on the medical, physical, spiritual, psychological, and social needs of our veterans. Dr. Alderman and his team of physicians, physician assistants, human performance specialists, and more will treat these needs, but they have another urgent need that we as Rotarians can support. The Magnus site, located just down the road in Dayton, Minnesota, is huge, with more than 37 rolling acres and 6 buildings, and it will grow. Dr. Alderman says Magnus will serve 1,000 of our veterans this first year and projects up to 5,000 in the near future. Now, not every one of our veterans can navigate the sprawling and rolling site. Magnus's daytime services and programs, which are beyond the scope of the Veterans Administration and Disabled American Veterans, applies to veterans of all ages and needs. Chances are you may know some of these people. Magnus will address the health needs, but they need on-site transportation, and we as Rotarians can help. Our goal is to provide Magnus with all-season electric-powered transporters capable of moving up to 6 people at a time. Magnus needs a minimum of 2 transporters, and I am proud to share the Elk River Club is committed to purchasing the first. We are on our way to achieving our goal. With your help, we will raise the necessary funds to ensure every one of our veterans can access all of Magnus's sites, facilities, programs, and services. The goal is achievable, and we can do it. Rotarians, this is a unique opportunity to accomplish a real world, but local need. There is so much more to know about the Magnus Veterans Foundation, but the clock is ticking. So I ask you to watch a recent Fox 9 news story, to visit the MVF website and its Facebook page, or invite us to speak to your club. So in closing, on behalf of the Magnus Veterans Foundation, our veterans, and the Elk River Rotary Club, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your support.
Thanks, Casey. And I think we would need transportation to get all the way around 4 different Disney parks in one day, and a lot of insanity to do the same thing. So I don't see any questions in the chat, but yeah, if anybody has any questions at the end, we'll open it up at that point for a minute or two. We'll go to our to another pollinator project, and that would be Chisago Lakes. And here is Judy Chartrand to talk about that. Judy, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm Judy Chartrand. I want to start you with a question, right? Did you know that 75% of the plant species worldwide are dependent on pollinators, bees and butterflies? Did you know that 30% of the food in our grocery stores would disappear without pollinators? That's from Rotary International, and that is why we are doing a community-based project. We've got 4 towns, Chisago County and the Chisago School District involved. And we are increasing pollinator gardens, and we are educating the Chisago Lakes community. Kind of the red thread of our project is the Swedish Immigrant Trail, right? It's a 12-mile path that goes from Chisago City to Taylor's Falls. We've been very fortunate to receive a grant from the National Park Service, and they've given us an environmental specialist. He's helping us for 2 years. We've received grants for soil, seeds, and plugs. But what we need next, and this is why I'm coming to Rotary, is we need some educational physical structures. You can see the kiosk, the fencing, etc. And we also are looking for a shed for the middle school, where they are establishing a nursery. So at the end of next year, what we will have is a model program for how communities can go about doing pollination and education. And as I kind of walk you through, we are looking for support here at the middle school, a shed. We are looking, as we go farther down the path, we are looking for kiosks at the city of Schaefer and Turn Avenue. So those are our kind of key needs in areas. The total project for the educational, just the educational structures, is about $22,000. We're asking Rotarians to support about just under $13,000. The Chisago Lakes Rotary and Taylor's Falls St. Croix together, we are committing $3,500. We're asking other clubs to consider supporting us for up to $3,000, and we're asking the district for about $6,500. So that's kind of a quick, very, very quick overview of our project. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Judy. And glad you got that meeting changed so you can still be here at this time for us. So I don't see any questions, so we will move on here. 3 left. Thank you, everybody, for being prompt and timely here today. Belle Plaine, Carl Colden will share some about their grant. Hi, Carl.
Hello. Thank you. The Belle Plaine Rotary Club works closely with our Historical Society throughout the year with their fundraisers and events. We've discussed with them over the years potential projects that would be something we could help them with. And recently, we came up with something that we thought would be a great upgrade to their Historical Society. Several prominent and historical community figures give tours of the historical house and the church and the grounds. And some of those folks over the years have retired from giving tours or have passed away. We recently had a funeral for 101-year-old Henrietta Stiles that grew up in the historical house, and she was one of the main tour guides of the house also, but it's been a historical house for many years now. The main reason for our grant project is to get those detailed tours and stories recorded so they won't be forgotten, as well as create a self-guided tour so we can have a sustainable tour guide system for years to come. I personally have been on a self-guided tour where you're given a digital player, recorder player, and headphones, and the tour guides you through the facility, pointing out notable artifacts or telling stories, interesting facts. And at any point, you're able to pause the tour and look around for a bit on your own before resuming whenever you're ready. Our goal is to create that similar experience here, and the tour of the house and grounds and church could just be uploaded to the handheld player. The tours can be taken by anyone at any time, classes, groups that would be there, and just select the file for which tour you wish to take. And any new tours could be added at any time. The grant would consist of purchasing 25 handheld players and then a bulk of single-use earbuds like you'd get on the airplane. The Historical Society would then be responsible for maintaining the equipment and handling any recordings. So that's it.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you. Anybody have any questions from our chat box? Let me find the chat. There it is. Doesn't sound like it. So we got 2 left, and then we'll open it up for a few questions at the end for anybody. Next up, Arden Hills Shoreview and a community pollinator garden project. And here is Charlie Altman. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, good afternoon. Pollinator garden seems to be the talk of today. And like Judy, I also read the October 2020 issue of Rotarian magazine of how majority of our plants depend on pollinators in this world and 30% of our food supply. And we as Rotarians and others have an impact of changing this because these habitats are disappearing much faster than we can gain back. So the Garden Hills Shoreview Rotary Club is partnering with the city of Shoreview to put a pollinator garden in McCullough Park. This picture you see of McCullough Park is the largest park in the city of Shoreview. This would be a substantial pollinator garden, about 2,000 square feet, north of this open playing field and right of the playground near the Ramsey County open space. Now, the city has committed to help us with this $12,500 project. The city is committed to, and that blank space is full of lawn, they committed to removing that and grading the land. What the grant will supply is water and irrigation. As we know from this summer, we couldn't get one started without it. It'll also include topsoil, the pollinator plants, and educational signing so other communities can learn about how to start them in their own yard and what kind of plants they'll be looking for. Now, this project will also be part of this park's master plan. So when people look at McCullough Park in the future, they could see a big destination going to this park is the pollinator garden. Our club has committed $3,000 to be matched. We welcome help from other Rotary gardens and also at the Rotary clubs. Also, we know that this really requires beyond Rotary, it requires participation from the entire community. We have the Roseville Club, which is going to help us with planting and watering for reciprocity for a project they're doing this year. We have contacted the Shoreview Community Foundation about a $5,000 grant. We have commitments from the Shoreview Quality Committee. We plan to get Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts involved so they can learn at a young age the importance of pollinator gardens. And we recently had the Shoreview, the Rice Creek Watershed District visit the site. They said we'd be eligible for a $500 grant, but what they're really is excited about is if this is approved and we get some matching funds and help, they will help to put in a residential size rain garden. So not only will residents and community learn about the pollinator gardens, but also rain gardens. So the goal for this project is to become a destination for the larger community to learn about the importance of pollinator and rain gardens. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks, Charlie. I haven't gotten any from my end, and so we'll move on to our last presenter and then open it up for questions at that point. And this is Lynn Montgomery from the Anoka Club. Lynn, 345.
Yeah, we're doing just great. Thank you so very much. So thank you again, everyone, for sticking with through this. I'm delighted to be here today to share our Anoka Rotary proposal, which is fitness and wellness support for our Anoka community first responders. This grant was developed in that there has been such a significant need this past year with greatly increased needs for our first responders, but with much more demand and much more concern, especially around the pandemic and the additional needs for personal protective pieces and other things. And so all of the extremely rigorous demands, as well as all of the ongoing certifications and requirements needed, and the challenging conditions that have been happening, not only with regular emergencies, but with all of the increased things with the pandemic, has made it very, very challenging for our first responders in both their physical wellness and their mental health wellness. So Anoka Rotary is proposing to partner and work with this to create a wellness center in the Anoka Police Department lower level, which would provide access to not only the Anoka police officers and the Anoka firefighters, but also the Champlain firefighters, which they're all volunteers, so they don't actually have an area. It would give them accessible, high quality, and accurately calibrated equipment that would be accessible for them that cannot be provided within the existing budget. So our grant would provide a wellness center. We would renovate an old unused office space in the lower level of the Anoka Police Department. We, the firefighters, the police officers, and the Anoka Rotarians would remove the old indoor-outdoor carpet that is there and replace with a new rubber floor for safety. The rubber flooring is being donated by a local business, but it'll be our job to level the floor and install it. And then we would purchase new commercial grade fitness equipment, including a weight system, leg extension and leg curl machine, adjustable benches, chest and shoulder presses, declining portable benches, and multi-bands for the strength training and the things they need for their certifications. We would also, the Rotarians would also paint and assist with the installation of the equipment. Our goal would be to work this year to finish this prior to 2022. And the impact would be great for our police officers and our firefighters. Our budget is, we have put all of the funding that we are requesting, which is $13,241.80 toward the equipment that is needed. Currently, they have a couple of older personal donated treadmills that are somewhat functional, but greatly lacking in the kinds of equipment that they needed. Our club has worked with Johnson Fitness and Wellness. They are providing a significant discount and partnering with us with commercial grade equipment. The rubber flooring, as I mentioned, would be donated. We would install, and then we would also do the painting and the other pieces. We are seeking support from other Rotary clubs that might be interested in partnering with us on this. The Anoka Rotary will provide $3,000. We're looking for about $3,600 from other clubs, so that we would have a match from the district for $6,500. This is my contact information if you need it. And it's, I'm sure, also in the chat, but mine is a bit challenging in that I thought it was very simple to use my initials, but with those two M's, it's very confusing to people. So if you have any questions, I'll gladly take them later. But we would look very forward to working with you.
Thanks, Ben, and appreciate you sharing that today. What I will do now is before we open it up for questions, I just want to talk about a few things real quick. And thank you, first of all, to everybody that's presented today and shared all the details of your club projects. I think this really, it really shows what we do as Rotarians in our communities with the money that we have because of our donations from the Rotary Foundation. So thank you. And hopefully you all came away impressed with the wide range of solutions that all of our clubs are providing needs to address in their communities and around the world. A few housekeeping items before we open it up. So the district grants team will be deciding the amount of district designated funds that each project will receive. And you will hear from Margie Horning next week, probably, with that amount. As a reminder, you cannot begin your projects until our spending plan is approved by the Rotary Foundation. We'll let you know when that happens, but it's going to be in early, in probably mid-July, actually, because they're moving, they're shifting billing systems. So it's going to be a little later this year. So do not start your project until you get that okay. Right, Margie?
That's correct. We just got notice this week that they are suspending all grant approvals, which includes our block grant, even though it'll be in perfect shape, until the earliest they'll start awarding these is July 19th. So you won't hear until after July 19th. So that is longer than what normally happens, but don't jump the gun because you're going to wreck your grant, okay? And, you know, this is just one of those things that's beyond our control, but I'm sure it'll all work out in the end. So thanks for your consideration on that point.
Thanks, Margie.
And I'll put that in the email I send you as well.
So you'll find out how much money next week, but then wait until you get that second email saying it's okay to start before you start your project. Ed, you have a announcement about a couple of special other meetings people can attend next week.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. You know, in addition to what we're doing with the grants here, some of the money that goes into the Rotary Foundation is spent through the foundation itself. And one of those programs is the Peace Scholarships that go out. And we are very happy to announce we have 6 candidates that are looking to become Peace Scholars through Rotary. Part of that process is they need to be interviewed and kind of vetted through with districts before they get passed on to Rotary International, where the final determination is made. And we've got, as I mentioned, 6 people lined up Monday through Wednesday at various times. If anybody's interested, please get a hold of me, contact me, and we'll get the information. Love to have you sit in and join us on that, and have you even ask a couple of questions. It'll be more conversational with the candidates, just trying to get to know them a little bit, find out a little bit more about their background and if they're a good fit for the Peace Scholar program. So again, let me know and we'll be happy to send that information out to you. Kyle, we'll throw it back to you.
Absolutely, and I'm sharing the screen. This is an email that that went out to just about noon today to all of you. So you should have received this, talking exactly about what Ed just mentioned. And one note that Peace Fellowship through the Rotary Foundation, well, we have a role at the district level in basically acknowledging that the candidates fit. We do not make any decisions. So this is really just a chance to get to know them and make sure that that they meet the criteria. The Rotary Foundation is who decides who will be the Peace Fellows for the year, up to 150 of them worldwide. And an important part, you know, we get a chunk of district designated funds back from our district or back from Rotary Foundation. That chunk is not disturbed by the Peace Fellows. The Peace Fellows are paid for by the Rotary Foundation with other funds there, as I said. So, but really interesting way to learn about some great people. One of the candidates last year was in South Sudan, and I mean the life he had led up to that point, along with just being a champion for peace, was really inspirational. It was really cool to be able to have a Zoom call with the guy in South Sudan at that time to learn more about him. So that's that part of things. And before we close and go to the Q&A part, I think we should probably ask our incoming district governor, Kenny Closter, to share a few brief thoughts, considering he's going to be the guy that's in charge and signing all of the checks that you get for DDF next year. Not technically, it's Ed, but Kenny, you get to say a few things anyway.
Perfect. Thank you, Kyle. And Kyle, I really want to thank you for all your past and current leadership for foundation and grants. Margie, all your past, current, and future help, as well as Ed, all your current and future help. All the mentors in the entire grants team, thank you so much. To all the clubs who came forward today and the presenters who were brave enough to present their projects in this virtual forum. I put up our upcoming year's banner behind me, and it's very apparent that you have all taken this to heart, that we are here to serve, to change lives. So thank you for everything that you have done. And I would also like to remind you to please share with your clubs how important it is to give to our Rotary International Foundation so that those funds can come back, and each and every year we can continue to grow what we're doing in this great district. So thank you all very, very much.
Thanks, Kenny. Appreciate that. And one other special thank you today is to our district administrator, Kathy Hewitt, who has been diligently on top of things behind the scenes here, making sure that everything is working correctly, letting people in, troubleshooting ahead of time, and then also making sure the videos are spotlighted at the right time and everything. So Kathy, thank you so much for basically being the producer behind the scenes of this meeting and for everything else that you do on a daily basis. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll be sending out a document with the contact information of all the grant sponsors to everybody that's attended today. We encourage you to work together, partner with other clubs to fund the projects the best possible, because the more clubs participate, the greater the impact we have on the beneficiaries of these great projects, which means then the more we can do to change lives, as Kenny just talked about with that theme. So with that, I'd like to open it up to see if anybody has any questions about any of the projects that anybody has presented today. And I guess special thank you to everybody for staying within the time limits today too. That was great. We're actually about 10 minutes ahead of my hypothetical schedule. So good work, everybody. Anybody have any questions about any of the projects?
I have a question, Kyle.
Go ahead, Jim.
This is directed to the Rochester Club, but it's one that can actually be impact on several of the projects. The question is, what's the impact or what's the involvement of your local Rotarians in the project?
Yeah, so we will have a couple of Rotarians in our club that will be actually giving some of the virtual trainings out. They'll be participating in that process.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? You can just raise your hand or however you want to do it. Perfect. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. I guess I should ask a going once and a going twice to see if anybody has any more questions. But it looks like everybody's all questioned out. So yeah, we are now officially going to say thank you for the last time and close this about 5 minutes before I thought it was going to be. So enjoy your weekend. Keep up the great work, and thank you for all that you do for the Rotary Foundation. Talk to you soon.
All mentors, if you would stay